La liga de los grandes llegó. The Elite Builders in the building. Vamos a hacer rato esto. Llegan al lobby brillando la prenda, firmando papeles como si nada les cuesta. Traen tallado, sonrisa que vende. Te enseñan la llave y el futuro se enciende. Están a las 8, llegan a las 8. Todo calculado, movimiento roto. Una llamada y se mueve la ciudad, porque donde ellos pisan sube el Metrobras. Tú quieres vestir terraza, ellos ya tienen la casa. Solo te dicen relaxa y el trato se da, se da, se da. La competencia se cansa, ellos lo cierran con gracia. Brindan y suben la tasa, porque hoy se va a celebrar. Somos los Elite Builders, se firma y sube el ticket. Lo nuestro nunca es maybe, si entramos se vende, se vende, se vende. Bailalo con los closers, que el éxito se te note. Si suena el nombre en el speaker, la noche se prende, se prende, se prende. The Elite Builders, baby. ¡Súbale!
My mic is muted. I'm no longer muted. Let's see. He's in the stream with audio only. Where's Jose, man? Gotta get Jose on this call.
I'm right here.
There he is. What's up, brother? I can't see you, man.
You should be able to now. No?
Nope.
I see myself.
I don't see it.
That would be
There he is. There he is. Yeah.
See me now?
I see you now. Yeah. What's up, brother?
Great. What about you?
Chilling, bro. You're in all black today, like you're gonna rob a bank. Let's go.
I just got done with a nice little
Hey, you work out?
Yeah, of course, bro.
Yeah, I can't tell. I don't know.
You know? Hey, you know what's funny? In that video of that event,
Hey, that video's fire, isn't it?
yeah, but you actually came out dancing, bro. They didn't show when you were like, you know?
I know. Well, they got me a little bit. Yeah, man, it was awesome to spend some time with you. Real quick before we jump into what we kind of jump into today, what are some of your main takeaways from the summit?
I think just being able to see that people's lives are changing, you know, like being able to see people that came to us years ago saying like, hey, look, like, I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage, or I think I'm going to get a job. And then watching the people that are implementing, plugging into the community, like their testimonials. Like there's one person in particular that I remember being on a third-party call with them, and he thought that the solution was going into an in-person office. And when I told him, I'm like, look, the solution is that you need to learn what's working in today's marketplace. And once you learn that, you'll be able to make those changes in your business and get better. Sure enough, he's implementing that. The other thing is too, like the community, like Jessica's prospecting group, I think that has the ability to be able to help a lot of people with some of the challenges that you have as an agent sometimes, which is accountability or an environment to be prospecting in. So just watching the community come up with different solutions for challenges that agents are having in the marketplace. And then just the testimonials, like, oh yeah. And then balling up a couple of people. Shout out to Connor.
You did. Shout out to Connor, bro. You did him dirty, didn't you?
Connor. Oh, dude. Viewers out there, we're going to put Connor on blast. So it was like tie game on the first game. And he says to me right before that, he goes, hey, bro, if I hit the game-winning shot, will you coach me? And he has the ball, has the ability to make the game-winning shot. I tip it from his finger, grab the ball, he falls, and drain a three-pointer to win the game. It was freaking too bad we didn't get it on video, That's the only bad part.
You didn't?
No, I don't think anybody got it. It's a good thing because otherwise, man,
he wouldn't be able to recover from that, huh?
It's funny that now it's not AAA that I'm saying things. Now it's going to be Connor.
It's gonna be Connor. I don't know. Don't sleep on AAA. If he comes through, you'll definitely there'll be somebody else to talk smack to for sure.
That's funny.
So yeah, man, it was awesome seeing you. In terms of like my takeaways, yeah, like it's really cool to see the community begin to bear fruit.
Yeah.
Where, it takes a while. It's kind of like planting a seed, and it takes a while for like a tree to grow. And now, there's leaders in the community that are beginning to add value independent of me and you. And that's just awesome to see. And I also noticed this common thread, that being successful, and I don't even want to use the word successful, let's say producing favorable outcomes.
Yeah. Okay.
Is directly correlated with a willingness to continue to adapt, where there's certain things like gravity, right? Like hard work and consistency and discipline and prospect, lead, follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate deals. Those are gravity, and they don't really change. At the same time, the environment changes pretty radically and constantly and perpetually. So, this theme in, listening to the speakers and from my own direct experiences, just a willingness to change your mind, a willingness to adapt to environments, adapt to marketplaces shifting and changing, adapting to new technologies, is directly correlated with continuing to operate at a high level in whatever is you do. We just happen to, be in the real estate field.
And even as me, like in the last 15 years that I've been in business, I've had to modify my business model so many. It almost feels like every 2 to 3 years, something works. And then it's like, okay, rapid change that you have to modify. And then even like we had Jeff Quinton and Alex Slair, shout out to them. They talked about like how at some point a shift for them was going from landlines to cell phones.
Yeah.
That was like a shift that they had to modify. Like they had going from the MLS book to the MLS online, like just so for as long as real estate has been around, there's been changes and modifications. And for us to believe that, hey, look, we figure out one time and that's going to work all the time. No, it's constantly be looking and innovating for the next best thing. And even like, yeah, like our business has shifted so many different times, and we've had to add different products and services to better service our client and to better adapt to some of the competition that's out there as well too.
Yeah, I mean, imagine just them sitting in rooms being like, all right, guys, there's this new technology. It's like cell phones, bro. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to pivot, right? And yeah, that was, I think that's very true, and we can all learn from that. So the thing that we wanted to cover during our time together is just to continue to work through the actual listing presentation. Is that right?
Yeah. So I went on a presentation yesterday.
Hey, you go on appointments, bro? You sell real estate?
Yeah. Of course. It's one of the benefits, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, so I go on an appointment and they tell me that they met with another agent and they told me that like, hey, look, they weren't even sure if they're going to be selling the property. And what I walked them through, and this is important because I want this to be documented, like instead of like the other agent tried to convince them as to what the benefits of them selling now were. And what I did was instead, I'm like, look, it sounds like you're unsure. Tell me about the different options that you're considering. And basically, we outlined 4 different options that they had at their disposal and walked them through the pros and cons of every single option that they have and what it would look like if they went in those options, basically. And what percolated to the surface was just, it turns out that selling may not be the best option for them, but what percolated to the surface was instead of just like, hey, look, like you need to sell your property, the market's going to crash, all these different scare tactics, and like them almost like repelling the other agent, like, hey, we would never work with you, to like, oh, thank you so much. This was extremely helpful. And now, you know, like, hey, look, these are the different options that they have as well, too. So I think it's even at presentations. I don't know if you've had that where you pre-qual them. They're like, hey, look, we want to sell. And then they're like, hey, look, these are other options that we're considering as well, too, basically.
Yeah. So it's normal. And particularly now in the environment, because, you know, we were talking about this prior to the event, where you're noticing that like on every presentation, not like some of them, not like a handful, but on every single one, you're competing, and not just with other agents, you're competing with other products.
Yeah.
So meaning there's like HomeTap, there's, you know, Point, I think is another one. People are talking to OpenDoor, which are all cash offer products. Plus they're talking to other agents. Plus they may be talking to investors who are offering different solutions. So I think by like getting yourself to a place where you're completely competent in being able to navigate all of those different options just positions you as the, again, real estate professional, and also allows you to add more value. And that's why you're converting, because you told me you're noticing you're beating you're not just beating agents, you're beating investors and you're beating these other products.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And in order to get to that place, though, what I thought was really interesting, Jose, like you told me, like you taken the step to like with some of those products, like actually getting their contract and reading it. So that way you can fully understand like what this actually is. So that way you can have an intelligent conversation with the consumer and point out things that they may not be aware of.
Yeah. So I've done that with the home equity agreements where I've had clients forward me and to them, it's like, they're asking me like, hey, Jose, look, is this something that's good for me? Like, meaning like, would I actually benefit from this home equity agreement? And I'm like, look, to be honest, I don't know if it would or not, but I'm pretty financially sophisticated. So if you send me all the documents that they're sending you, I can review them and I can give you an honest opinion if it would be good in your situation. So it's the ability to be like, hey, look, I'm willing to help you, even if I'm willing to invest time. And also what it does is it makes me more educated on how that product works. And it lets me know like the situations where it would benefit somebody, but also like the risk associated with it if they do go in that agreement, and then be able to provide a different alternative that you can help monetize it. I do that even with like if I make that proposition where I'm competing against cash offers, I'll say, look, like there's all these funny clauses in cash offer contracts. Like a lot of people don't realize, like, look, there's this clause, there's that clause, there's this. If you want, I can review the contract for you. And if you allow me to review it for you, I'll give you some honest guidance if you do move forward with that offer as to how to counter that offer back to put you in the best position. And I won't charge you a single dime, you know? And what ends up happening is they end up sending me these contracts of an offer at 700 where I'm at 650. And the contract has like $100 earnest money deposit, or the contract has like, hey, I'm going to record a memorandum on the title of your property, basically.
Yeah.
the inspection period doesn't start until we do a secondary walkthrough, but that could be like 30 days from now, you know? Like, so it's like all these funny different clauses that exist, and it allows you to be able to be like, okay, like if they had these funny clauses, this is how I can separate myself from them, or this is how I can provide something that's better for that customer, basically. And it also keeps customers from entering into these agreements that don't benefit them in any way, shape, or form in some cases, you know?
Yeah, and it really, I think, not I think, I know it positions you as guide, like a
Yeah.
trusted guide, because I know as a consumer, it's overwhelming, dude. Like most people don't read agreements. They don't,
They
you know what I'm
just sign.
saying? Like they don't know what this language is. They don't know what a memorandum is. They don't know that like that it's buried in there that they file a lien against your property. Like they don't know like, hey, just so you know, like this sounds great. Like they're just going to give you the money. I don't know if you're aware of this. They're actually tacking on a substantial amount of interest. And the way that they can bypass usury laws is by not taking it from you monthly and instead taking you for you at the end. At the same time, that's precisely what's happening. Were you aware of that? Were you aware that it's actually 20%? They're like, holy smokes, I didn't know, right? But unless you are willing to really, it's a Jose, like what it makes me think about is it really comes from a place of service, but there is a self-serving nature in it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Great.
like
It's
it's kind of like the bumblebee who goes from flower to flower. And the bumblebee's going from flower to flower very selfishly because it wants the nectar. But what it doesn't realize that it's doing is it's actually pollinating as well as it goes from flower to flower, right?
Mhm.
So there is a selfish nature because if we can kind of, help people to self-discover that we're the best solution, and great, we're in the business, but it also comes from a desire to really like want what's best for people and to serve them.
And being unattached to the outcome, because even when I'm going over these different options, it's like, look, if it turns out that they're the best offer, fantastic. Like, no problem. Congratulations. At the same time, I want to make sure that if you do move forward with them, that you're protected as well too, and that you're entering into a contract that allows you to solve your goals and your needs, and that you're not entering into a contract that you're going to have trouble getting out of, and then they're going to hold you hostage because they've got $100 earnest money deposit and they recorded a memorandum on your title, and you need to close in the next month, and they're saying if you don't reduce the price by $50,000, $75,000, we're not removing this cloud on the title, basically.
Yeah, which is wild, but that's the
Yeah,
reality
which
if
happens
they
in the
were to enter
investor
into
world.
that agreement, right?
Yeah, which happens in the investor world.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. And then as far as like, let's say somebody's like, hey, we're looking at these options. How would you go about transitioning to like opening up the conversation to be like, well, I'm curious, like what options are you considering? So you can walk down that path and then begin to systematically help them kind of navigate those options so they can decide what is in their best interest.
Well, I think at first, what I try to do is I try to align with them. I'm like, look, just so you know, like, even if you don't sell, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with just going over the different options to try to help you whatever solution is best for you. So like most agents might walk in here and they only want you to sell, and they might say things to you like, hey, market's going to crash, or like, hey, you need to sell the property now, whatever it may be. My intention here today is to basically understand your needs at the fullest level, go over the different options, give you the pros and cons of the different options, and then obviously you can make whatever decision is best for you. So in order for me to do that, I do have a couple of questions for you that would help me understand your needs better to be able to guide you best. And then I start digging into things like, okay, like what are the options that you're considering? Like, well, we're considering renting out our primary residence and moving somewhere else and renting out over there. I'm like, okay, great. That's option one. How much could you rent out your primary residence if you did that? How much would the rent be wherever you're considering renting? What is your current total payment on your primary residence right now at the present moment? Great. You make notes, you do your numbers. You're like, okay, great. What's the second option? Well, the second option is selling this investment property and purchasing somewhere else. Okay, great. That's an investment property. Would you do a 1031 exchange, or would you just cash out and pay the taxes? Well, I heard I was exempt $250,000 if I sell that. Well, that's not the way it works. That's an investment property. You're exempt on this property, but not that property. So you're able to walk them through the different situations and also answer some of their incorrect information that they may have and guide them and be like, look, if you went with this option, this is how that option would work.
And then so it's a key in terms of like how you present it. So I would imagine, because you have so much information, at first it might be tempting for you just to tell them, oh, well, this is this option, and this is what happens here, and this is what that is, and this is what that is, right? And it's interesting because as I say that to you internally, you're like, I say, your head's like, no, don't do that. I know you know not to do that. Initially, though, like for those who may struggle with that, like what would you suggest or recommend to them?
I would say the better you get at asking questions just in life, you'll find out things and just almost like just being curious. And I did this to one of our agents. I'm like, look, just be curious about people, ask questions and be present. I think the better you are at asking just questions without an attachment to one way or another, the better you'll understand their needs. And it's so funny because this dynamic, the daughter was like, hey, look, I want my dad to grow his real estate portfolio. And I want him, because I've heard that never sell your properties and just keep buying properties. So she was leaning more towards a scenario where he keeps and buys another property out there and keeps this property. And I looked at the dad and I'm like, look, I understand both positions that you guys are in. Like, what I also understand is that people go through different stages in life. And like, I'm in the stage that you're talking about where, hey, look, it makes sense to grow your real estate portfolio. But I also have my dad in the stage that's very similar to your dad, where I'm imagining that your dad just wants to simplify life and wants peace and doesn't really care about acquiring more properties. That is an option though. And the dad looks at me and he's like, I don't want that anymore. You know, so a lot of it also comes down to like, you start to understand human beings and you start to understand different life cycles that clients have and what type of decisions they make at certain life cycles as well too. And you're able to incorporate that into your presentation and into the solutions as well too. Being able to understand like that people, when they get to a certain stage in life, a lot of them just want to simplify life. You'll notice things like they start paying down their mortgages, or you'll notice things like they sell off investment properties, or you'll notice things like they get rid of all the debt that they have, you know?
That's exactly right. So, but with that, like the only way you can really know that is from like kind of business experience and maturity. Like you had to go through personally a cycle where you were like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy all this real estate. And I remember I came to you, I'm like, yeah, like, yes. Same times, you know, the syndication thing, like you still get access. You're like, no, I'm good. And then I remember you calling me and being like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to buy any more real estate, right? Just because of how much time, energy, and effort. And if I do it, I'll probably do the syndication route. But then also coming to the awareness, somebody at the summit came up to me and they're like, I think Jack asked you, he's like, oh yeah, you're going to buy like 50 more. You're like, nah, dude, I'm not going to buy any more doors. I'm just going to focus on the organization because that can create a revenue stream that's like 10 times bigger than, you know, this other thing. And there's way less friction.
And faster and less.
And faster. Yeah. And all that stuff. So there is some business maturity there, but the key is to resist the temptation to tell.
Yeah.
So when somebody says like, yeah, you know, I'm considering OpenDoor, you'd be like, oh, well, you know, I don't know if you thought about this and like, you know, no, you wouldn't want to do that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm curious. Like, what about that is interesting to you?
Have they made you an offer?
Have they made you an offer yet?
Did that offer come in at? Is that,
if you don't mind me asking, like, would it come in at? Is that in alignment with what your goals and expectations were? I'm curious. Did they let you know that they actually have 5 to 6% fees that are associated with that offer? Were you aware of that?
Yeah. Is that their initial offer, or is that their offer, or have they done the walkthrough already?
Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, yeah, you know, it's not uncommon to think that their initial offer is the offer. At the same time, they may end up doing a walkthrough and coming back to you and being like, you know, we may need to kind of like shave some money off that initial offer. Were you aware of that? Did they explain that to you? So just asking questions instead of trying to kind of smash somebody into a particular, you know, option, let's say with you listing it, and instead be like, look, I'm genuinely interested in whatever serves you best. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. My intention in asking is by no way, shape, or means to be like nosy. It's just the more information you're willing to share with me, the better equipped I am to provide you with some guidance that could be helpful or useful in some way. So tell me. And then you start getting into all these options. Or like, let's say they present, somebody's like, hey, you know, the HomeTap thing or whatever. Yeah, I know that can be enticing. And it's enticing for different people for different reasons. So if you don't mind me asking, why is it enticing to you?
Great. How much money are you looking to get from them?
Mm-hmm.
Have they already offered you that amount of money? How long would you do the HomeTap option for?
Mm-hmm.
Have you explored a home equity line of credit versus the HomeTap?
Yep. And
Nope.
were you aware that a home equity line of credit would actually be meaningfully less in terms of interest than the HomeTap? Did you know that?
Yeah.
So you notice what me and Jose are doing. We're like, the ratio should be 80 to 20, guys.
Where you're just
80% asking questions, 20% talking about how the solution that we have matches their problem. That's it. Right? Not like you pontificating on all the stuff that you know, but it does require that you know it. So that way you can help guide people to make an informed decision in terms of like what serves them best based on their particular situation and their dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and it's any time before, like whatever they say, it's like asking additional questions to fully understand. Like I went another presentation and the seller was like, look, I met with the neighborhood agent already. And I'm like, okay, great. Did they give you a price as to what they could sell it for?
Mhm.
You know? And they're like, oh yeah, they told me that they could do it for 500 and X. Did they give you a cost as to how much they think the renovation would cost? Like, yeah, they told me that with $30,000, I can renovate this property. And then I'm like, okay, great. And what percentage did they say that they would charge you? They said that they would charge 5%. Like, okay, well, if you sell it at this price, you discount the 30,000, you discount their fee, you would net X amount of dollars if you went in that direction. I'm like, here's what the cash offer would look like. So now it's like I asked them questions, and then I was like, okay, this is the other option that you have basically at your disposal.
That's right. And then in doing so, again, you're kind of like, not kind of, you're guiding them and walking them down a path and helping them to, again, make a decision for most people with their like biggest asset that they own and probably will ever own, right? As far as like what would be in their best interest. And here's my experience too, and I'm sure it's yours as well. Independent of if they decide, if I have the solution for them, they are forever grateful and appreciative. And oftentimes they circle back with you. Because they'll be like, hey, bro, like you told me the truth. Or like, hey, bro, you helped me to, kind of work through this other thing. And I trust you. So like now that I'm ready to do something, I want to do it with you. I mean, you've had people that you've done a wholesale deal with, like come back to you, right?
And refer me deals, yeah.
And refer you to other people because you told the truth, because you, really kind of guided them in a way that was, you were not attached to the outcome and you led with that, right? So at the beginning, hey, look, whatever you guys decide to do, whatever option you decide, whether it's with me or somebody else, you decide to sell or you don't, it's perfectly okay. I'm going to support you 100%. My intention today is really just to be a resource for you, kind of review some of the options that you have at your disposal, perhaps help you to get clarity around those options. And then you'll decide what you feel is best. And whatever you decide, I'll support you. Fair enough?
Yeah.
That's a completely different approach than like, hey, you got to do it this way and you got to list the home with me and like that sort of thing.
And then even what I find myself doing at times when I'm competing is I'll basically make it very clear the benefits of working with me versus a different option. So like yesterday, the option that it looks like they're going to be selecting is a program that we have where we help them renovate the property. And I was very clear as to how our program is different than the way that other people offer that program, and then additional benefits. So like the way other agents offer that program is that they have the licensed contractor pay for the repairs, and then the licensed contractor gets reimbursed at the close of escrow because most agents don't have the financial capability to lend $30,000. The problem with that is that because they have that licensed contractor and he's taking the hit, he basically charges a premium for his services because he knows he doesn't have any competition on that. The benefit of the way that we structure is we lend the money to do it. We're able to shop for the best prices and the best vendors. Hence, we're able to provide a better price and no attachment to one specific contractor. And I make that clear where it's like, look, these are the benefits of working with us versus going the traditional route, even if somebody else is offering you that same program or a program that appears to be the same thing. Or I'll be like, look, here's the benefits of working with us. The benefits of working with us is that we actually flip properties ourselves. So what that means is that you're able to leverage the vendors that we already use that give us special pricing to our clients. We're able to leverage that. Not only that, but we have an in-house interior designer that is able to tell us, because we flip properties, they're able to tell us what colors, what type of finishes would make your property look the best to sell for top dollar. Here's a couple of examples of the renovations that we've done.
That's exactly right.
You know?
Yeah. And again, like it's really just a completely different approach. For anybody who's listening, like I want you to really, really be clear on something. Authority is the lowest form of influence. The lowest form. Jose could pound on his chest and say, I sell 150 homes a year and $100 million worth of real estate, and I own all these doors or whatever. I promise you, he never leads with that when he walks into rooms, ever.
I don't lead with it. Occasionally it comes up, but
occasionally. And here's what I used to never lead with it too. The only time it would occasionally come up was when it was important to them and they would challenge me.
Yeah.
So if they challenge me, it's like, yeah, I appreciate that. And like, what are you going to do is different or blah, 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 or like that sort of thing. Then I would like politely, hey, my intention in sharing this with you is not to brag or boast, just to answer your question directly. We've had the good fortune, I've sold over 100 homes a year for 10 years in a row, did 200 deals a year twice. So, I feel supremely confident we can help you. It's not a question of if we can help. It's just a question of me determining like, what's important to you and what you want to accomplish, and then coming up with a game plan to help you to get what you want at the time you want.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because when you said they challenge you yesterday, I asked the client if he was open to getting a different opinion. He's like, I've already gotten like 10 different opinions. Mm-hmm. That was an example of them like saying, hey, look, you're just like everybody else.
Yeah, 100%.
They're challenging you in that moment, basically saying, hey, look, there's no point of meeting with you. I've already heard this same spiel 10 different times, basically. That's an example of when I would be like, okay, look. So I told her, I was like, look, pull up Google in front of your phone. I'm like, pull up the last agent that you have your home listed with, and then type in Zillow right after their name. I'm like, what pops up? I'm like, okay, pull this profile up. What pops up? And when she looked at that, she was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you're the real deal. I think I'm good.
After that, it was like, okay, like, yes, I'm open to getting a second opinion, basically. But before that, it was just like, hey, you're just like everybody else. Like, it's exactly what you said, that she challenged me, basically, like almost like, hey, you're just like everybody else. There's no point of me getting together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the only time where I would kind of address it, but also notice how I'm addressing it. Like, that's one way. It's like, yeah, I could certainly see why. You'd feel everybody's the same. And in my business, the talk is the same. The results are completely different. If you would bear with me for a moment, I think you will be able to see that that's
the case.
Actually what's true in the case. So are you in front of a computer right now? And then just have her pull it up and then ask, like, yeah. So, as I mentioned to you, it's not uncommon that, people will say they will do a certain thing. My experience as I've gotten older is it's not what people say they will do. It's what they actually do. And I'm curious, like, is this the type of track record you'd want working for you? Yeah, it is. All right. Well, just by you saying that demonstrates that we should get together and discuss the options, maybe make a suggestion. So the challenge is when you do, let's say, share that, but to not share it with like an arrogant hammer that I'm trying to smash somebody over the head with. Like, don't you know who you're talking to? It's more like a polite correction, like a gentle correction.
Well, and then even like if I ever go over the track record, it's almost like, look, all this means to you is that if you're looking to sell your property for top dollar and you're looking to get it done quickly, we've got the experience to be able to help you because we've done it for almost like 1,000 other people.
Yeah. And I'm curious, is that what you're looking for in the agent that you hire? Well, yeah, it is. Well, the good news is you found what you're looking for. I would do the same thing if you're in competitive situations and they're like, oh, I'm really considering some other agents. Like, yeah, I appreciate that. And, I have to imagine that for you to even be considering them, they're probably, you know, like hardworking. So you'll probably be in pretty good hands no matter what you do. My experience is that prior to making a decision like this, which for many people, I don't know if it's true for you, it's one of the largest assets, if not the largest asset that they own. It's helpful to do a little bit of due diligence and some homework, because I know that anybody can tell you they're the best thing since sliced bread. At the same time, we live in a world now where we can actually verify that. So what I can do for you, right, and a lot of our clients really appreciate this prior to making this big decision, is we look at what we would call like a real estate report card, right? So we could see actually how many homes this individual is selling, and then you can make a decision based on performance, not just based on kind of marketing. Does that make sense? Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll pull myself up first. And then, you know, I would do that and be like, okay. And then in order to do that properly and professionally, I just need like a name of who this person is. And you know what oftentimes they would say? Well, I don't remember their last name. And I would make a joke. I'd be like, so they weren't that memorable, huh? And they'll be like, ha, ha, ha. And I'll be like, all right. And then they'll pull out that card or something. I'll be like, okay. And I'll look them up. I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, it looks like here, they sold 2 homes last year. Did you know that? Like, no, they didn't mention it to me. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I understand like you perhaps had an affinity for them. I guess under normal conditions, like if you were going to hand over $500,000 of your money to someone to manage a transaction, would you want somebody who'd only done that a couple times in the last 12 months, or somebody who did it 150 times in the last 12 months? And they'd be like, yeah, I guess I see your points. Like, so, I mean, the good news is you actually found what you're looking for. Man, and then proceed.
That line is actually really good. If you were going to hand over, like after you go over that, well, let me ask you this. If you were going to have somebody manage $700,000 of your money in a transaction, would you rather hand that over to a person that's done it 30 times or somebody that's done it 1,000 times in their career?
Exactly right, bro. And then be quiet.
Yeah, that's a great way to tie it back in there. And it's like, well, you want to know the good news? You found what you're looking for.
Yeah, and then just remember this, you found what you're looking for. I mean, let's just go ahead and get the process started. You feel comfortable with me, I do as well. In order to get our professional relationship started off right, and it's no worries, right? We do this all the time, happens all the time, truthfully, is we can take care of the appropriate paperwork. I'll reach out to the other agent. I'll let them know that you decided to hire us. We'll give them the first opportunity to bring us a buyer. If they have one that's ready, willing, and able. And if they do bring us a buyer, I'll even consider paying them a bonus out of our side of the commission. How does that sound? They're like, yeah, it's great. Awesome. You do that for me, just for you. Let's just go ahead and take care of the appropriate paperwork. But notice it's all in the delivery, right? You could deliver that same information in terms of like their track record versus yours in an arrogant, like overly competitive, like not focused on the client way, and you will push them away. Even if your track record is light years better.
Yeah.
So it's all in, again, like the main theme that I'm hearing from this is like, you know, and taking away this common like truth, this kernel of truth is like the ratio should be 80 to 20, 80% asking questions, 20%. If you are speaking, what you're doing is you're demonstrating how your solution is matched to their problem. Right. And when you are going to be making statements, make sure you're couching them in a way that's unattached, focused on the client, and that are geared towards self-discovery.
Yeah. Let me pull up the flow chart. Go over. So I had a request at the Do More Deal Summit. They're like, hey, look, like you started to break down the listing presentation on Aaron's channel. And then you guys said you guys would get back to it, and you never did. And I was like,
dang, people holding us accountable, bro.
People are paying attention, you know, which is good. Obviously, that's what we would want.
Sure.
People to do. Let me see if you can see it. Can you see it or no?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
No, I actually can't see it. I can't see it on my screen. Sorry.
Can they see it or no?
Probably not. If I can't see it, they can't see it.
Could you guys see it now or no? Go in the comments. Let me know if people. You can't see it though, right, Novello?
No.
Okay, let me figure this out. Let me get this going again. Share screen, entire screen. All right, let me know if you can see it now. Can you see it?
Nope.
You still can't?
No, this happened last time. I don't remember like what.
Yeah.
Wait, Jose. Oh, wait. Okay, I added something. Did that help?
Do you see it or no?
Hold on. Yeah, now I see it. I had to add it. It was like another screen. Okay, now we can all see it. Yeah.
Oh man. So it turns out it was on your side, Nabello.
Oh, come on, bro.
You know? Come
Yeah.
on. How could you do that?
Come on.
You do that to me. All right. Cool. So I think we broke it down like, so I was even thinking about like, so flow charts help me be able to visualize like procedurally, like what needs to be done. What I was even thinking about like the coming soon campaign, it's not even necessarily a coming soon campaign. How would you rename this, Aaron? Because like in some cases, like yesterday's appointment.
Yeah, I call it like a pre-marketing plan or a pre-marketing strategy.
I think it's, yeah, I think that would, it's not even a pre-mark. So I'll give you another example. Like yesterday, maybe urgency creation or something like that.
Yeah.
So
something around like, you know, because you have to make it clear how it's in the benefit of the client. And as I'm thinking about this, it's like, well, yeah, we could certainly wait. You know, what's also true is a lot of homeowners in your situation, they actually take advantage of what we call like a pre-marketing strategy. And the best way that I can describe this is, have you ever sat in like a movie theater and they showed you like a movie that was coming soon? And they're like, well, yeah. And it's like, and have you ever sat there and said, like, look to the person next to you, whether it's just significant other, whatever, you're like, man, I really want to see that movie when it comes out. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, this functions in the same capacity, right? Because we have the ability to begin to pre-market the property. What that means is we let people know that it's getting ready to come on the market for sale. Any buyers we're working with, any of the top agents that are in town that we work with frequently. And the goal and objective there is to build a lot of buzz, meaning a lot of interest. And in doing so, once the property is prepared, we take pictures, we get all the marketing in place, and we have buyers lined up. So that way, when we open up the floodgates, that results in multiple showings and hopefully more than one offer on the table. Does that approach make sense to you? And they're like, well, yeah. And is that an approach that you would want to take advantage of? Well, sure, that would be great. So that's how I would present it. And I would do that regularly because with probates, it's not uncommon that I think you get it, you know, obviously in retail, people are like, hey, I want to do this and I want to, you know, kind of prepare the property. But almost virtually like every time it's going to be with probates, unless they just want to sell it as it is where it is, which is maybe like 30% of the time. The rest of the time, they're going to need to put some capital in to increase features and amenities or just get it into condition to like, you know, actually put on the market. So by pitching the pre-marketing strategy and framing it as though it's going to help them net the most and do it quickly and efficiently, it wasn't uncommon, Jose, that I would like legitimately have 10 listing agreements signed. Yeah. Waiting to come on the market for sale.
At all times. Yeah. And even substantially in advance. Well, here's the different, the reason I was asking for a different name is like yesterday, the way that it was presented, it was like, well, look, like we're going to do some work to the property. If we do the work and you're vacated by this date, it's going to take 2 weeks to do the work. Our target date is on the 11th, but obviously you're not out till February 22nd. So what we want to use the next couple of days, and this is very important, is that we use the next 3 weeks to be able to get all of the estimates for you. We need the next 3 weeks to get our interior designer in here so that we have everything. We make sure that the vendors are available to start work on the 22nd and that we program them to start. That way they can have everything lined up for the 22nd. This makes it so that the moment you vacate the property, the work starts immediately and we're able to have everything completed in that 2-week period. But in order for us to do that, we need to start that process of getting the estimates now and be able to coordinate their work schedules to make sure that they align with that in order for us to be able to complete it in 2 weeks. So it wasn't like, hey, look, we're going to pre-market the property.
No,
like, in order to be able to complete this in the timeline that we want, we would need to get started right now. So, and I guess the coming soon campaign is just a part of this urgency creation.
Correct. They're both what I just deployed and what you just deployed are mechanisms to create urgency. That's it.
So it's almost like the coming soon campaign is just like, so maybe like that tab, it shouldn't be coming soon campaign. It would just be like urgency creation.
Yeah.
And then using whatever the situation is, determining like, okay, is the best route to go coming soon campaign, is the best route to go like, hey, look, we need to do all this, this, and this, and none of this starts until you give us the green light, basically.
Yeah.
So
And then what just popped into my head is like, let's say they're like, you're like, yeah, in order for me to begin to execute on this plan, it just requires that we take care of some documentation, like the appropriate paperwork, and that will allow me to be able to, put everything in place and get all the vendors in place. Does that make sense to you? And they're like, well, yeah. Okay. And is that a plan you want to take advantage of? Yeah, we do. Okay, excellent. So I have the appropriate paperwork with me. So unless you have any other questions or concerns, we could just begin to authorize them. We'll be one step closer to getting this thing on the market and getting it sold for you. Sound good?
now what would most agents do? Most agents be like, okay, great. Let me start getting the estimates for you.
Oh, 100% before they have any documentation.
Let me start getting the estimates for you. And let me do this. And then it's like the 22nd, they've got all this estimates. They haven't signed anything. And now somebody like me comes in, gets a contract signed, and you just put all this extra work for nothing, which sucks.
Sucks royally, because then somebody like me or you slips in and like we get a contract signed and you're like, but I went and looked at all of these different things and I talked to all of these different vendors. And it's like,
and then in some cases, I've had it where they even use some of the vendors that they recommended.
I know, bro, and they get so mad, but like it's like, don't get mad at me because you didn't know how to create urgency and get a contract signed.
Yeah. So I think that instead of a coming soon campaign, it should be titled like urgency creation. And I think that's important in a listing presentation to be able to create urgency when needed to be able
Oh, it's huge, because I know like creating urgency is the difference between taking 4 listings a month signed and 8.
Yeah.
Like it really is. You can double what you're doing once you learn how to create urgency, and this recognition that like, I don't expend any energy until we have a contract signed.
Yeah.
And people are looking to be led. Our job is to lead them. So I thought it was interesting. Like somebody on a call was like, oh, like I had this guy on a call and like, I sent him the DocuSign, but then he like, it got all weird and whatever. I'm like, well, do you practice walking through people through signing via DocuSign on Zoom? He's like, no. I'm like, so was it clunky and like awkward? He was like, yeah. I'm like, well, whenever anything's clunky and awkward, it causes people to pause and hesitate, which creates doubt and fear, and then they stop.
Well, I even learned, like Jessica did a presentation and she went over like a DocuSign thing, and I learned something from it, like, because they had hey, like, Mr. Seller, I left the blank box, fill in the price right there. And the seller literally was filling in the price, filling in the commission structure, filling in the dates. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a way to just have the agreement there already uploaded.
Up and ready to go.
Ready to go. And it's just like literally like, okay, like Mr. Seller, like, okay, these are the things that we haven't filled in. These are the 3 things that we talked about. Can you just put the target date that we had on there?
Yep.
Right.
And I thought what's beautiful about that, because it's intentional and purposeful, because I know this comes from experience on her behalf, where it's like, hey, you fill that in, not me.
Well, it's even to get rid of all, because in my
any kind of misunderstanding or whatever.
Well, in my mind, it's like, okay, how am I going to have it so that the DocuSign is up and ready to go without a price, a date, and a commission? Or do I just have those filled in? I'm like, no. But the way that it was done, she has the agreement already there, ready for them to authorize. Now it's just like, open it up, fill in these 3 things, and it's ready to go. Basically, you can actually do it on the spot because you don't need to know the date. So for me, that was like mind-blowing.
And how cool is that? Because here you are doing 150 deals and you're still learning, like, oh man,
well, even
this is how I can like get a little bit more efficient in what I'm doing.
If I have a Zoom presentation, I'll just basically send them the contract after the Zoom versus walking them through it. Great. So if it's okay with you, look, open up your email. We have it in your inbox. I just press resend. I'm going to walk you through all the paperwork. That way we can take care of it right now. And it's like, and literally the 3 things that I had were just answered by having that blank text box that the owner fills out during the presentation, but you're walking them through it right there in that present moment.
That's right.
So that was actually a takeaway that I had at the event, basically.
That's dope, bro. I love that for you.
I know, crazy.
I love that for you. So, yeah, you know, we will continue to, because I'm noticing our time, like we'll continue to walk through the presentation and all of these little kind of tweaks, right? Because everything is a presentation. So these little tweaks in like, hey, am I asking questions? Am I really following that 80-20 rule where 80% I'm asking questions, 20% if I am speaking and making statements, the only reason is to link the product that we have with the problem that we've discovered from asking all the questions. Little tweaks like, you know, how I'm going about kind of presenting, let's say, a difference in track records or things of that nature. Like, am I hammering people over the head like aggressively and in a confrontational and kind of arrogant manner, or am I doing it like politely and professionally and helping them to self-discover when I point it out to them? To also, you know, what we were just discussing, right? As far as like creating urgency, right? To get agreements authorized. All of these things matter, guys. And if you want to be a world-class listing agent, like, I don't know, 70 to 100 homes a year that you're listing, in my opinion, that's like world-class. 50 is really strong too, but like 70 to 100 is like, you're like, as my son would say, you're Sigma tier, okay? It's like Sigma, there's A tier, B tier, C tier, you're Sigma tier, right? These are all little tweaks, like being in the gym, all little, you know, tweaks to be made, which culminate in you being a conversion machine.
Yeah, agreed.
So we appreciate you guys and look forward to reconnecting. Same bat time, same bat channel. Let's go be great. Talk soon.
And we'll continue breaking down the listing presentation. Peace.
Peace.
Súbele, la liga de los grandes llegó. Daily Builders in the building. Vamos a hacer rato esto. Llegan al lobby brillando la prenda, firmando papeles como si nada les cuesta. Trajen tallado, sonrisa que vende. Te enseñan la llave y el futuro se enciende. Están a las 8, llegan a las 8. Todo calculado, movimiento roto. Una llamada y se mueve la ciudad, porque donde ellos pisan sube el metro. Tú quieres vista y terraza, ellos ya tienen la casa. Solo te dicen relaxa y el trato se da, se da, se da. La competencia se cansa, ellos lo cierran con gracia. Brindan y suben la tasa, porque hoy se va a celebrar. Somos los elite builders, se firma y sube el ticket. Lo nuestro